Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Genex Thinks live Saturday. First, about time somebody beat Oliver. Oliver is normally the first one here. Yep, Oliver, dog karma. Hey, what's up? Christopher, good morning, Christopher. How's it going? Glad to see y'all here. Raziel, what's up, Roz? Glad to see you, Roz. Yeah, we're trying to. Hell, it was in the 80s yesterday here, Roz. Um, let's see. To kick this episode off, I'm going to talk about Gen Z. And I read an article a few years ago, honestly, and it was saying about how Generation Z, Tripwire, what's up? Glad to see you. Generation Z was the first generation in the history of mankind since the cavemen and shit that was gonna have a shorter life expectancy than their parents, right? So their average life expectancy is going to be 70 or whatever, where ours is 74 here in the United States, and that was in general across Western civilization. But yeah, and that due to the lack of exercise, the chemicals in the food, and all that shit, not eating home cooked meals anymore, that kind of stuff, and that was a little eye opening. The first generation in the history of mankind uh, to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. Tomcat, what's up? How's it going, man? 2 degrees? Oh yeah, yeah. Wind chill put you below zero for damn sure. But oh, all right, living. Glad to see you here, living and active. Well, glad you stayed up. But I read another article here recently, and they did a scientific study and on another subject along these same lines, and they did all the research, dug through all the archives and everything, because they have been recording cognitive abilities since the late 1800s in education. And Gen Z is the first generation in recorded history with that are cognitively lower than their parents. Basically, they're stupider, right? They're dumber than their parents, um, and that's scientific. That's just scientific fact. They've done the research on it and looked through all the archives, and because we've been tested for cognitive abilities since the late 1800s, and all that shit's been recorded across Western civilization and all education systems, and civilization wide, Gen Z's just dumber, right? And due to just being soft on them, we'll make the tests easier so the teachers don't have to try so hard, and it's just a pain in the ass. The kids don't want to sit still. Just give them some pills. They must have ADD or whatever or something. So give them a pill that'll make them don't just make them tell them to sit down and shut the hell up and do their homework and learn some shit. You know what I mean? Don't do that. So this kind of new, whatever you want to call it, social thing in the education system, this kind of new system is actually harming these kids in a really bad way. And the the meat and potatoes of it is that in every dog karma, hey dog karma, thank you, I appreciate that. Uh, in every category, um, so far that's been studied and analyzed, Generation Z is worse off, right? And then in the 80s, that was like the peak. Again, in another category, that was like the peak of the educational system. We got up there and it's been downhill ever since. The educational system, cognitive abilities, for God's sake, they're destroying humanity, the human population, in every way they can. Now they're just talking about depopulating us. Uh, Jeff Seven, Rusty Boot Knife. That's a good handle there. Rusty Boot Knife. Hell yeah. Hey, good morning, Rusty Boot Knife. Glad to see you here, man. Uh, who else we got here? Christopher. Did I say hi to you yet, Christopher? Hi, Christopher. Glad to see you here. In case I missed you. Rockefeller Indoctrination. Yeah. Yeah. Tomcat, I'm with you there, dude. Yep. Light Day. Hey, our newest member. Yeah, they also lack life experience. Carl, what's up, Carl? Glad to see you here. Yeah, everything they experience is through a cell phone. Back in the day, we had to go outside and earn that video game time. Yeah, yeah, that is so true, Carl. Yep. Remember, Light Day, we've got a members episode tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern time. It's on ancient technology. That's the topic of discussion. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Roz. And I don't think, I mean, each individual maybe owns a little bit of responsibility for it, but it's the system. The system has failed them in a major, major way. Their health, their education, um, they're sicker and dumber. You know what I mean? Because of the system. And they have been let down. So I really don't blame them for their nihilism, right? I mean, what the hell? I mean, a kid getting out of high school, even a kid getting out of college, right? They look around and they're supposed to um, chase the American dream, right? And the average house now is 600 grand. They can get a 50-year mortgage and pay it off in their 70s if they're lucky enough to survive that long. But that's the life expectancy now. So to get paid off 2 years after they die, if they're 24, you know what I mean? Uh, if you were facing that as a young kid, how the hell, how would we feel? At least we had some hope. I mean, it's still a bullshit pipe dream for most of us, but at least we had some hope. You know what I mean? Uh, these kids don't even have hope. It's ridiculous when somebody tells them that you need to work hard and go. They just laugh at it. What the hell? Why? What's the point? Uh, so I can almost pay my house off before I die. If I'm lucky. It just so I understand their nihilism is all I'm saying. They are dumb and aggravating, don't get me wrong, and they do need to man up and learn to accept responsibility. And I've got a lot of criticism toward Gen Z, but at the same time I try to understand the situation they're in. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've always loved Australia. Never had the chance to go there, Christopher, but I've always loved Australia. I watch documentaries and about the wildlife and all that stuff. Not so much about the culture, the social aspects of Australian life, but about the land and the nation itself, the history, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that shit's awesome. Yeah, Tomcat, that you damn right, dude. We're not done for. We're still breathing. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. It ain't over till the fat lady sings, dude. Yup. You damn right, Tomcat. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Hurst. And that's why I say it's the system, society, right? Uh, so we're it's not like and they like to say it that the parents are to blame, the parents, and the parents, and I get that the parents do own some responsibility, but when the cops will come to your door for spanking your kid, letting your kid walk home from the park, letting your kid walk to the park two blocks away, a woman was arrested for that shit. She let her kids walk, like 8, 10-year-old kids, not toddlers. They walked to the park. Walking home, somebody saw him. They called the police. Yeah, the lady was arrested. That's the kind of shit. And you can say, okay, it's still the people because the lady called the police. The police didn't have to arrest that woman. The police could have arrested the lady who called the cops, the Karen who called the cops. That's who should have been arrested. For wasting police time. But yeah, Hearst, exactly. Yeah, I did say member, dude. Yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, okay, Roz. Yeah, what you could have done better personally. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's part of life's. That's the bitch of life. Hindsight's 2020. What could we have done differently? Keep kids completely away from technology. Would have that have been a good thing? Not let them, don't give them a cell phone until they're old enough to get one for themselves, get themselves a job and shit. They go to school. They're the only kid without a cell phone. They're the only kid that can't talk to their friends and shit. They'll be a social leper. Is that doing right by a kid? Maybe, but it's a tough one, man. That's a real tough one. You want your kids to be happy and have friends at school and shit. So all right, living and active. Be cool, buddy. Glad you showed up, man. Yeah, Felix. Yeah, false hope. Yep, I'd agree, dude. Yeah, Tomcat. Yeah, free snacks and birds. Yeah, dude. You blame the parents, Oliver? Yeah, a lot of people do. But and there is a lot of blame to go around. But at the same time, when when the when the system is set up to keep you working 8, 10, 12 hours a day just to keep a roof over your head and lights on and food for your kids, and then you must sleep 8 hours a day, that leaves very little time left over for parenting. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is difficult. So um, yeah, the system, when the system's rigged against you, it's hard. You'd sell them yours for 100K, Ross. Well, yeah, most people wouldn't do that though. Most people want to get every dime they can for their house, right? Most people price it 20 to 50K over what it's valued at, and then and try to try to get even more than it's valued at, and come down to whatever the market price is. Uh, yeah, very few people, Roz, are like you and would actually try to help somebody and make a small amount of profit on a home. They want to squeeze every dime they can out of it. Well, I'm up at 3 every day, Felix. 3:30 rather. Yeah, for filing a false police report, Christopher. Yeah, yeah. That the Karen should have been arrested in that scenario. Am in palm or thy palm is the sign from God to his children. I've never heard that before, Gen X Tomcat. Okay. Yeah, Roz. But still, most people out there would not do that. Yeah. Most people are out there just, trying to squeeze as much as they can from the next person before they die. A wise tale. Okay, I have to look at that, Tomcat. Oh yeah, Roz. Yeah, you're damn right, dude. Oh yeah, yeah, you're right, Felix. Most expensive are doctors and lawyers. Yep. I played by the rules most of the time. Even when I didn't, it didn't help any. So yeah. Oh yeah, Carl. I agree, dude. Too much legislation on human behavior and not on parenting, taking away agency of people to be independent. Yep. Yeah. And across the spectrum, across life, freedom allows some bad people to do some bad shit, right? Um, some people abuse their kids. What are you going to do? You know? But taking away a child's freedom to go to the park uh, and calling that abuse, allowing, just letting your kids go to the park, calling that abuse it's just going too far, you know? Yeah, kids are going to get hurt even with this oppressive system we have where you can't discipline your kids at all, and kids are still getting hurt. Kids are still getting abused in every way, shape, and form. The only thing we have out of it is that they're stupider and they're sicker, they're less healthy, and they're stupider. They're still getting abused. It's just now they can't leave their house to go to the park. They can't go out and exercise because someone will call the cops. They can't go outside and play because some really stupid son of a bitch will call the cops on them. So uh, when when society gets to that point, the system gets to that point. That's why I keep saying over and over again, it just needed to be torn down, you know, and taken out root and stem and started over again. You know, Carrington level event, zombies, something. Just let's start over. Yeah, firmly planted in the friend zone, Christopher. Dread Raider, what's up, Dread? That's a cool handle too, dude. Yeah, a goal is not always something to be reached. It's often serves as something simply to be aimed at. Yeah, and that's why I dread that old saying. Shoot for the stars, aim for the stars, because then you might hit the moon. You know what I'm saying? And that's just wisdom, common sense. If you shoot for the stars, you might end up, at the moon. So if you have a goal, aim a little higher, and you might get a little closer to your goal. Yeah, you need a license to go fishing. You don't need a license to have kids. You don't need a license to vote. All this kind of shit. Just like a boomer, Roz. Yeah, yeah, you would be. Yeah. Yeah, Roz. Yeah, that is the irony. Um, Common decency, that does come back to you. Hey, Light Day, good morning. Glad to see you. Glad to see you here. Yeah, you remember tomorrow, Light Day. Now that you're a member, you can come to tomorrow's morning show. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Yeah, what are you gonna do, or what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? You gonna sit there and cry, or what? Just another guy in the woods. What's up? How's it going, man? Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, Rusty. Panasonic boombox in the back of the school bus. Hell yeah, dude. Brad Davis. Hey, Brad. Glad to see you here. Yep. Yeah, false accusations all the time, Christopher. See that shit all the time, dude. Know me from, Brad? Under promise, over deliver. Yeah, Felix. What if everybody did that? Just by a little bit, not by a lot. Don't break yourself, you know? Especially the government and the system. Under promise on education and over deliver. Under promise on healthcare and over deliver. Under promise on anything and over deliver. Under promise on the work, as a handyman on the work and then over deliver. What if everyone did that around just by a little bit? Just by a little bit. Can you imagine, including the systems now? Most uh, uh, the stress is on the system. What if the system under promised and over delivered, right? In every category across the board for its citizens in every country. Can you imagine what a great place the world would be? You know, but we'll never see that ever, because each one of those wheels in the cog up there on Capitol Hill, each one of our politicians up there, they're just completely 100% selfish, greedy, screwing over their constituents and trying to scrape out as much Chinese bullshit crap as they can before they die. Uh, or stocks or whatever they're into, whatever it is, they want more than you, basically, and they'll sell you out to get it. Oh yeah, that's another happy thought there. That's another nice way to look at it. Aim for the stars, and if you miss, your frozen corp will be eternal space junk. Yeah, yeah. There are a lot better ways to go. You know what I mean? Or a lot worse ways to go, rather. You could just be worm food. Baby DNA and Pepsi. From what I read up on that shit, Felix, from what I read, they were messing with baby DNA, fetal tissue, whatever. Um, but they never put it in the Pepsi, right? They claimed that they never did put it in the Pepsi. It was some other thing. My question: what the hell is Pepsi doing with fetal DNA anyway? For any reason whatsoever? Why the hell is Pepsi Cola messing around with you know dead babies, dead baby matter? It's just scientific um, shit on a glass screen or whatever. It's not necessarily an entire fetal corpse, but still, why? What what possible explanation, valid reason can a soda company have for owning, possessing fetal DNA? There is none. There is absolutely none. They should not have ever possessed it. You know what I'm saying? It's just insane. Yeah, all we wanted was a Pepsi. Yes, Brad. Yes, every one of our problems is caused by the government, and no problem, none whatsoever, has ever been cured by the government. None. When name one. If somebody knows one, please tell me. I have thought about this a lot. Name one problem that the government has fixed in the last 50 years that we've been alive. Does anyone know? Can anyone point out a problem that they didn't actually make worse? I'll go that far. Not only did they not fix every single problem they've ever encountered, they've made it worse. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've never analyzed it myself, and even if I did, I wouldn't know how. Even if I tried, I wouldn't know how, Brad. But all I know, all I can go off is what I read. They said they never put it in there, but they did possess it. So that's bad enough. Yeah, the truth is perspective. Yeah, and silence is golden. The world is broke. Yep. Yeah, Jewish space lasers, Christopher. Oh yeah, not and that definition is enormous. Yeah, we're a tiny little microscopic piece of a tiny little piece of the universe, Brad. Yeah, bathrooms were filled with cigarette smoke. Yeah, Felix, I remember those days. Oh, all right, Roz. All right. You have to watch tomorrow's membership episode after the fact. It'll still be good though, I'm sure. Oh yeah, Hurst. Yeah, yeah. Good news normally means you're screwed. Is it taste bud DNA in Pepsi? Okay, yeah. That it wouldn't surprise me one bit if there actually was. But Pepsi just wants to mess with Coke. Yeah, maybe. Um, None of that shit would surprise me. I don't know. I don't know what ends they won't go to make more profits. And that is the really disgusting part. It's more profits. It's not like they're broke, you know, living in a crack house or something. They're trying to get out. They just want more profits. You know what I mean? Even if they were, you know, maybe if they were going broke and their yacht needed refurbished or something, and they made some bad decisions. You know what I mean? Maybe you could sort of understand that in some way, but to do this heinous shit just for the sake of more profits, to be richer, I can't fathom that shit. It's really hard to even wrap my mind around that mentality. It truly is. It just baffles the shit out of me. Yeah. Smoke a couple of joints in the smoking area, Hurst. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Gary Gnu. No gnu's is good gnu's. Yeah, Felix. Yeah. Soda making clones, Ross. Yeah, yeah. One man enters, two men leave. Oh yeah, Roz. Yeah, they'll correct that shit quick. Third strand DNA incoming. Yeah, stupid remains stupid and no pill to cure it, Christopher. Yep. All right, Tomcat, be cool, buddy. Thanks for dropping by, hanging out with us for a few minutes. Duncan, the world has always been broke. Yeah, yeah, until we invented debt. Yeah, the rocket scientists who invented debt in the banking system. Yeah, and the only real currency, if you think about it, dude, the only real currency is our lives, our time. That's it. That's everything equals that. Money, I'll trade you 8 hours today for X amount of dollars. So what you get is 8 hours of my time. That is the beginning of it. That's where it starts. And that's the thing that confuses me. I'm trying to wrap my mind around all this utopian shit they're talking about, where robots and AI just run around doing everything, and we just lay in our beds and flick through YouTube and Netflix, and have food brought to us and stuff and all that. So where is the value then? All value currently starts with human time. If there's no human involved, then where is the value? So we all just lay around and robots do a bunch of shit for us. Who's going to pay for the robots if nobody's working to pay for the robots? So they're just going to philanthropically hand out these robots to everybody so we can all just sit on our asses and vegetate until we die? Is that the plan? Uh, so I'm having a difficult time wrapping my mind around that shit. Elon Musk's utopia. Duncan, did I say hi to you yet, Duncan? Glad to see you here. Yeah, the government saved us all from eating real food, Roz. Yep. CRISPR. I've never heard of that, Hurst. Yeah, bought fast food just to push their soda. Did you hear about that, Christopher? That the cigarette industry, the tobacco industry, after they got all those big lawsuits and shit, they just moved over and bought into the food industry and took their scientists over there to figure out how to make food addictive. Yeah, companies always have rival companies. Wayland Utani, Hearst. Yeah, but when you look, they have rival companies, but when you look at the the owners of the stock and stuff, they're all owned by like two or three big companies own the major interest in the stock, and those are the people manipulating these companies from behind. And the stock companies are run by banks. So it all just right. It all just follow the money. It all leads back to the banks. It's just facts. When you look at the pyramid, the only real pyramid, that food pyramid. Now I don't know if y'all have heard they've inverted that, and we could talk about that. But the pyramid of the financial district, or whatever, the financial system, it all goes up to the banks. The banks own everything, literally everything. All those movies, digital movies you think you own, all those digital books and digital audiobooks and shit you think you own, the banks own that. Uh, I mean, yeah, they're, you know, uh, Amazon. Amazon is the name in between you and the bank, but basically the bank owns Amazon. You know what I mean? Uh, and they've got their front man out front, like Bill Gates and Elon Musk and shit. But look at even Elon Musk's companies. Look at the stock. Look up the stock and see who owns 50% of that stock, or 40, or whatever the number is. The big owner is BlackRock and Vanguard and all that shit. Those big investment firms. So when you see that, And whether you're an Elon Musk supporter or not, but when you see that Vanguard and BlackRock own, 40-50% of the stocks in his companies, and they could just crash his company at random, at will, vote their shares at will and control his company. It just makes you wonder, makes you wonder, makes you ask questions. I do anyway. It makes me question what the hell is going on. Robert, what's up, Robert? Glad to see you here. Yeah, everything chews on your personal clock, Robert. You damn right, dude. Halfway through a big fat cone, Hurst. Yeah, yeah. The sanity was gone before we were ever born, Duncan. Yep. Yeah. Wasting time, Hurst. Yeah, if you enjoy the activity, is it really a waste? You can look at that from different angles, but I would say no. The only wasted time truly is time that is stolen from us by the government and shit. That's wasted time. Every hour we put into paying taxes has been a complete and utter waste. And every hour that was stolen from us through inflation, the devaluation of our dollar, because that's an inversion. They've inverted that. They said inflation means that the prices of goods are going up. But that's not what it is. That's the story we're sold. That's the bullshit propaganda. Inflation is that the government has devalued our dollar. But through our eyes and our senses, it looks like the prices of bread are going up. No, the government borrowed another $1 trillion. They had to manifest or create another $1 trillion of our currency. And the more of something that exists, the less valuable it is. Period. It's that simple. Uh, that's just the way it is. You can't get around that. Yeah, 80% of what we eat is junk food, Duncan. Yeah, I agree. Okay, CRISPR. Okay, I'll look into it. Let me write that shit down. Zombies giving me more homework. All right, CRISPR. Oh, okay. So we're gonna upgrade chimpanzees, and the robots will pay them for their time. All right, Planet of the Apes. But just think of short-term profits. Oh yeah, Roz. Yeah. AWOL, what's up? Glad to see you here. Good day. You didn't know I spoke Australian, did you, AWOL? Huh? You see that shit? Yeah. I speak British too, and even Canadian. Yeah, I speak Canadian too. Just ask Rusty Doob. Wally was dark as hell. Hurst, yeah. If you pay attention to it, yeah. Oh, size of everything is shrunk. Felix, donuts, candy bars, everything, dude. Yeah, paying damn near $4 for a Snickers now, and it's a little tiny thing. Dude, get the hell out of here. But yeah, you're right, Felix. Not only has our currency been devalued, but they keep shrinking the size, of the stuff, the products that we buy. They keep shrinking, so we're forced into this Dollar General dollar store shit, right? Where you go in and you just buy a smaller quantity instead of buying a big old thing of toilet paper, 24 rolls or whatever. You buy two rolls at a time, and it's less expensive than the big 24 roll, but each individual roll is twice as much, costs twice as much, so you end up over time spending a lot more money. That's the same thing. So we're getting screwed both ways. Shannon, what's up, Shannon? How's it going? Glad to see you here. Yeah, Trip. Yeah, who owns the banks? And that's the big question. I know everybody. I've heard a bunch of names. Different names are thrown around for who owns the banks and who controls, like our Federal Reserve, right? The Rockefellers or whatever. Okay, J.P. Morgan. Okay, but our Federal Reserve is just one branch of the central bank. It's just a branch. Who owns that central bank? All right, that's who's controlling the world. Whoever's controlling the Federal Reserve is whoever owns it or whatever family, whatever you want to say, is controlling direct control of the Federal Reserve. It's just a branch, they're the VPs, the vice presidents or something of the thing. I want to know who's controlling the main thing over there, the main central bank. 1968 is the year everything fell apart, Christopher. Yeah. What's his name? Sure as hell does. Mark Zuckerberg looks like he came from outer space. Yeah, being angry is a solid waste of time, Christopher. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. We're paying taxes to our killers, and uh, getting away from that is my main goal in life. Just getting off the system, not the old uh, off the grid and off the system. I don't want to be some kind of tree hugging lunatic, running around dirty feet and shit or whatever. But at the same time, I want to be off the system. I don't want to be under their control anymore. That's my main reason for wanting to live closer to the earth and getting away from all the control, the manipulation, the toxins, the chemicals, all their bullshit. So that's my goal anyway. Yeah, well, it's also the main catalyst is the devaluation of our currency, Robert. They keep printing up trillions and trillions of our dollars, and it devalues our currency. Um, and we got, and that's the reason we should have a balanced budget in the. If not, if running up that debt didn't do anything, had no negative consequences, why the hell not? What's wrong with a $500 trillion currency or a national debt, or a 500 gazillion national debt? Who gives a shit? The problem with that is that our currency would be completely worthless. We wouldn't be able to buy anything. You know, a loaf of bread would be $100,000 because a dollar is completely worthless. Nobody wants that shit, you know. And I've seen it over there. And when I was in Korea, their won was completely worthless. They had 10,000 won notes, and you needed three of them to buy a candy bar. They didn't even have change like quarters and nickels and dimes. They didn't have that anymore because their currency had been so devalued, and it was like monopoly money. We trade $20 in, 20 American dollars in, and we get, like 30,000 won, something like that. And it was just fake shit. At the end of the night, after we went through the bars and shit, we just throw the shit away. Yeah, it was that worthless. So, but that was back in the early '90s. But I've seen it firsthand. Oh yeah, I like Wall-E. Yeah, that's dystopian as hell. It's animated, but if you made that movie, uh, in like a real life, a real, I don't know what they call it now, real human beings and shit, and real, um, not animated. Yeah, it would be dystopian and dark as hell. Yeah. Oh, Felix, that would not surprise me. Yeah, if they shorted you on the weight. Yep. You speak fluent drunkenese, Hurst? Klingon? No, I never learned Klingon. Duncan? No, never learned Klingon. Only Australian and Canadian and, those ones like that. British, some Scottish. Know a little Scottish too. Oh damn, Duncan! Pituitary gland is shrunk. I didn't even know I had a pituitary gland. If mine shrunk, I'd be pissed. Yeah, feel bad for that kind of stuff. Yeah, bullet wound ain't nothing but a thing, Christopher. Yeah, yeah, I love Wally. Yeah, that's a good movie. Yeah, fake money printers changed their names. That would not surprise me at all. Yeah, it's all bioengineered, light day, and it is disgusting. They're doing that shit, and most of the time they don't tell us. The only way we know is if it used to say organic on it back, but they've changed the regulations and stuff. Um, they used to have to jump through a lot of hoops and prove that their stuff was organic and all that back when the big food industry wasn't doing organics and they were lobbying against organics. They lobbied against organic food for a couple of decades. But people kept buying it and kept buying it and people wanted it. People wanted to get healthy. So they flipped the script, right? And then started lobbying for organic foods and getting all those restrictions and shit erased that they had implemented in the first place. And then they started buying up all the organic industry. And now they're, all these bullshit huge corporations are putting out organic, but they don't have the same regulations and shit that they used to have. So our organic food now, and I don't know what the stipulations are for getting your shit organic, being called organic now. You can. One of the things is to be labeled organic now. One thing is you can only spray insecticide on it once. Okay. Number one, the FDA doesn't check on that shit. All right. Now, the only reason to have that law is that if some dipshit like me gets a lab together and I want to start testing these corporations' food that's labeled organic, and I say, oh, there's pesticides on it. Well, we're allowed to spray it once, right? How can I prove how many times they sprayed that shit in reverse? Even if I ran up on there when they were spraying it on their fields, oh, this is the first time we sprayed it. We never sprayed it before. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's all bullshit now. I still try to buy organics. I don't know why. Just for the hell of it, I guess. 70s and 80s were better years. Yeah. AWOL, you got that right. Yeah. Yeah, Rusty. Yep. AI dudes are running shit now. Yeah, yeah. Just Google Bill Gates or DuckDuckGo rather, Bill Gates, and listen to the shit that dude says, and he'll tell you all about their depopulation thing. If you had poop on your hand, would you use dry paper or to clean or a wet towel? Um, whatever was there, both. Whatever got the poop off, I'd try one and then the other, whichever one was closer to me. And then because I wouldn't be thinking too much about it if I had poop on my hand. I'd be getting that shit off. Oh yeah, yeah, Robert. They're not restricted by those numbers. Those numbers are just irrelevant to them. Those numbers are meaningless. They just do what the hell they want with those numbers. Yeah, we're all wrapped up in all this stuff, but them up there, when you're the one who is printing the money, printing now we still say printing, even though it's not printed anymore. It's just manifested on the internet. When you're the one creating the money, what the hell? It's meaningless to you. You know what I mean? Completely meaningless. Yeah, exactly, Felix. And that's a yeah, good point, dude. But that's exactly what it was. It probably started like that in South Korea, uh, and pretty soon we won't have any change anymore, just like them, because it'll why when a candy bar costs $100, why the hell do you need pennies and nickels in your pocket? Uh, 30 years ago, pennies were important because there was actually things that costed 5 cents. You know, now nothing is a nickel. Nothing costs 5 cents. So yeah, you're absolutely right though, Felix. Yeah, that's why our coins are disappearing. First the penny, next to be the nickel, then the dime, and that inflation will just eat it up the chain and then the dollar bill, then the $5 bill, all that shit, and then our lowest denomination will be $100 bill. Yeah, yeah, Robert. Yeah, and that's inflation or deflation of the currency, either way you want to look at it. Same thing. Uh, but yeah, that's exactly what causes that. That's why it's happening, and I saw it the after effects of it in Korea, and it's a joke. You know what I mean? Your currency is just a joke at that point. The hypothalamus. Laura Ann's always throwing all kind of crazy shit at me. I don't know. I know. She's always having to define shit and remind me of shit and explain shit to me. Hey, Laura Ann, how's it going? Glad to see you here. Yeah, I used to have a hypothalamus, but the what is that called? The dog catcher, the animal control came and took him away. Shannon, pituitary does a lot of things, produces several hormones, and regulates others. Okay. Played the sousaphone. Oh, okay. Your pituitary gland is messed up, Lauren. Yeah, 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 yeah. Depending on who's producing the organic food and whether they give a shit and whether they're lying about how they produced it and stuff, Felix. But yeah, I still try to get organics. I don't know if it. I just don't believe that it means as much as it used to. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Pineal gland. I've heard of that one. KFC's still good in Kentucky. I haven't been to KFC in a long time. Yeah, it's all going digital, everything. And that's part of the thing in that article I read about the cognitive level of Gen Z is when they introduced all this digital shit, they saw a sharp decline across Western civilization. That is the main catalyst, the main common denominator across society is that the digital age. Once the digital age came in for true and real, the intelligence level plummeted. By test scores and all that stuff. They just it got worse fast. So all this digital shit is not good for the brain. You know, the spiritual one in the center of the brain. Okay, Loran, the pineal gland. Yeah, I know. It's hard to keep up, Duncan, how many glands we have, all the different shit they do. Oh, yeah. Yeah, half cent coins used to be a thing. Felix, you're right. My dad told me they used to have a third of a penny, and it was like a washer. It had a hole in it. Now, I never saw one, but he told me that they used to have one back when he was a little kid, a third of a penny. Yeah, but of course, inflation, and they axe those uh, because they just became meaningless. Medulla oblongata. Yeah, Christopher. Oh, holy shit. Yeah. I haven't been to Disney World since the early 2000s. And now, I was talking to somebody the other day and they were telling me, oh, yeah, family went to Disney World or whatever, got those tickets, season tickets or whatever for like $350 or something, some shit like that. Got them a couple years ago or whatever. And I was like, what the hell, dude? You weren't living here in Florida or something? No, that's the residential rate. That's for residents of Florida. Like, holy shit, that's insane, man. Yeah. Used to be like 50, $60 for the season pass for a resident of Florida. 50, $60. And we just, Floridians, we just get the season pass. It was only like 20 or 30 more bucks than the one-time pass. So what the hell? We just get the season pass and go all the time. Now, shit. That's insane. Yeah, Popeye's chicken's good. I like Popeye's Hearst. Yeah, red beans and rice. That's my favorite thing there at Popeye's. Yeah, when humans taste like chicken, Brad. Yeah, long pork. Oh, it was that movie Duncan where Adam Sandler movie, the one where he was a football player, a Cajun. He was a Cajun and high school or college, right? He went to college and he started playing. He was a water boy. Water boy, that was the name of it. Duncan. It was a water boy, and he freaked out on that dude in the classroom. Yeah, Christopher. That is cool. I never thought about it that way. The brain is an organ that named itself. That's deep as shit, dude. Seriously, I never thought about that. Probably the only one ever in the known universe. That's really cool to think about, dude. The brain is an organ that named itself. Holy shit. Sniz, what's up, Sniz? Mama said, yeah, alligator's so mean because he got all them teeth and no toothbrush. Yeah, Sniz. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I heard, Roz. And they're cranking out all these. They need silver for all that AI shit, right? All those data centers and all the RAM. RAM is going up too. RAM is skyrocketing in price because of AI. They're pushing this AI shit hard, harder than most people know. Yep. Oh, okay, Duncan. Yeah, I prefer what's the one? Busch Gardens. That's my favorite down here. I haven't been there in decades. But us Floridians, we'll go there in the dead dog days of summer when nobody's there and just ride the rides. You know what I'm saying? You can literally get off the ride and go right up, and you're the first in line. You're the only one in line. Yeah. Then a frontal lobotomy, Hurst. I don't. Yeah, I think pretty much anything. I'd rather have anything than a frontal lobotomy. Yeah, $50 to $60 buys you 8 candy bars. Armored Ghost. What's up? Glad to see you here. Yeah, I've only been to Universal once or twice, and that was for Hallow Scream or whatever, the Halloween thing. Yeah, and that was awesome. I got to admit, I had a great time. Yeah. Okay. Samsung invented that battery. All right. Yeah. Rusty. Yep. Physical currency, barter goods, coin, ammo, food. Um, yeah. And that's probably where it's going to end up. Where it must end up in some time. I don't know how long. It could be 100 years, could be 1,000, but it'll go back to that. Felix, yeah, homemade edibles. Yeah, Mama said AI is the devil, Christopher. Yep. Oh, about a quarter of it trip. Yeah, I mean Disney World's pretty cool. Um, it's all right. But as an adult, it's not as good. I mean, it's way better if you bring children. When you bring children and you can kind of experience it vicariously through them again, and see just the wonder in their eyes and stuff. So, as an adult, just going, it's a little different. Anunnaki did. Hearst, yeah. I wish they'd show the hell up again. Mama is AI, Armor Ghost. Yeah, yeah, yep. You're probably right about that. All right, everybody. It is time. So I'm going to let y'all go. All right. Thanks for showing up and hanging out with me. I love these conversations we have. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of great stuff to learn and to discuss. Um, a lot of weird, twisted shit going on today that we discuss and try to make sense of. Society and the system we're living in, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. But yeah, it's insane when you really sit down and think about it. Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is, Shannon. It'll revolutionize businesses but reduce labor costs. Yeah, uh, and in a lot of cases, it will eliminate labor costs altogether. So there's no labor at all. And that's where we're headed. I mean, it's just we can't get around it. All right, so I'll say goodbye to Mr. Hurst, Light Day, Armor Ghost, Christopher, Oliver Rust, Brad Davis, Laura Ann, Felix, Dog Karma, uh, Duncan, Armored, oh, I already said Armored Ghost. Who else we got here? Mr. Hurst, Rusty Boot Knife. Sniz. The universe created humans to understand itself? Ah, very possibly. Yeah, that's a good one to think about, Sniz. Who else we got? Brad Davis. Did I say Raziel already? Shannon, Shannon, Duncan. I'm probably repeating names at this point. Oliver Rust. Can't forget Oliver. Excuse me. AWOL. Goodbye, AWOL. Robert. All right. I think I've got almost everyone. If I didn't call out your name, Tomcat was here earlier. Raziel. All right. If I didn't call out your name, I apologize. Did I say Tripwire? I think I already said Tripwire. All right. And Mike, my boy Mike, there he is. Oh, you're at the tail end, Mike. I'm just saying goodbye. Hi and goodbye, Mike. So members, tomorrow we have our episode at 6 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to talk about ancient technology. I've got a couple more points to discuss there, a couple more examples of things I want to talk about. So that's always interesting. We got to talk about the book club again and try to figure that out. I need to get off my ass and do that. And Light Day, our newest member, thanks to Dog Karma, has been waiting patiently for the spiel. Hasn't even all capped me, yelling at me yet. So I appreciate your patience, Light Day. So, in honor of Light Day's recent membership, here's the spiel. Stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, it's only $2.99 a month, and I'll put that link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. But I really appreciate all the support from the members out there. This is the members banner here, and I really appreciate these people. They support the channel directly through memberships, and it helps out a lot, so thank you very much to all the members. If you're interested in Gen X gear, we got some pretty cool stuff over there at Redbubble. Gen X things and Gen X branded stuff, t-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, hoodies, all kinds of stuff. But I'll leave that link down in the description too for any of you who are interested. If you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Things, please put those down in the comments, or you can email us, and the email is genxthings@gmail.com. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.